Hello, everybody. This is Steve O'Reilly with SkinnyPost.com, and I am joined with my partner in crime, Gail Saunders, as we bring you the Offseason Buzz. And we're going to talk a little bit about upcoming free agents and where we think they're going to land and what's the best landing area for some of the key guys that are going to head into free agency tomorrow. Gail, how you doing, buddy? Always good to catch up with you.
Yes, sir, man. Living the dream, firing up the engines, man.
That's right. We haven't been on video in a while, and it's good to get back on camera and talk with our fans and try to bring you some inside scoop, some of the things that we know. Let's jump right in and talk about the man that everybody's talking about, Peyton Manning. He's the hot topic. A lot of teams are chasing after him. We've heard the Texans are now in the mix. The Titans are in the mix. Rumors are flying the 49ers are interested. The Chiefs are interested. We know the Broncos and the Cardinals are interested. And he also met with the Miami Dolphins for 6 hours today as well. They're in the mix. How do you see this unfolding, Gail?
Well, it's kind of interesting at the last minute. You see a lot of these teams that are jumping in. Some might just be blowing smoke. Some of these teams are in the same conferences, so you could see another team just jump in just to say they're interested, but just to make the pot much more sweeter. See these teams give up arm and leg for Manning, but it's gonna be interesting, man. Like if we're gonna talk about the perfect fits for Peyton Manning, you look at a great defense in Houston, and you look at a great running game, Andre Johnson, then you team perhaps Reggie Wayne opposite two Hurricanes. It's like can't get any better than that. I think it's a perfect situation for him as an offense to go to, and like as a team as a whole. But if you're gonna look deeper than that, I think you might agree that Denver Broncos might be the perfect fit for him.
Well, I do agree that the Houston Texans are a good fit. I think there's three teams that are very good fits. The Miami Dolphins are a good fit because they have all the weapons. They've got a big receiver. They've got another good number two guy in Devon Best. They've got a good, reliable tight end in Fasano. They've got a good running game with Reggie Bush. They got Jake Long protecting his blind side and a good young defense that with some upgrades could really make some noise. The problem with the Dolphins is you got to win 13 or 14 games to win your division because that's what the Patriots do every single year. So you've got to step your game up. Now, looking at the Houston Texans, you're absolutely right. I mean, they are loaded on defense. They're a great offensive team that can run the ball and has weapons in the passing game. They owe Matt Schaub, about $7 million coming up in the form of a bonus. And this is a guy who's missed 5 games over his last 3 years, and he's coming off a Liz Frank surgery with his foot. So you really don't know what you have there. I could definitely see Peyton stepping in and making them a Super Bowl caliber team right away. Absolutely. The problem is they're dumping guys left and right. They let go of Eric Winston. Their center, Chris Myers, is going to be a free agent. And they didn't have enough money to retain Mario Williams. So it's hard to believe that they're going to be able to afford all these key pieces and bring in some of the guys that Peyton wants. Now,
Right.
if you look over to the Arizona Cardinals, that's another great fit. He's got a really good relationship with Coach Wisenhunt. Larry Fitzgerald's a model teammate. He's the guy who would be their go-to guy, and they can get rid of Todd Heap. They could get rid of some of those bigger salaries. They already cut Brown, the left tackle. So that could be a really good fit, bringing a guy like Dallas Clark. But again, I like the Denver Broncos, not because I'm a Broncos fan, but because Tim Tebow was able to take the Broncos to the postseason after losing 3 straight games at the end of the year. They got in at 8-8, and then they went on to win a home playoff game. If Tebow can do that, imagine what Peyton Manning could do. The Denver Broncos are $44.7 million under the cap. They can go out and sign almost anybody they want, even after they sign Peyton Manning. They could kick the tires on Mario Williams. They could go bolster the offensive line even more if they wanted to, and bring in any kind of wide receiver help if they wanted Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark, whoever. They have the money to do it. Plus, Elway is the ultimate competitor. And that's what Peyton Manning likes, a guy who's going to do whatever it takes to get to the Super Bowl. He's going to spend the money. He's going to get the guys that are needed. And I could see it being a good fit. The weather, maybe not so much. It's a little dry. It's a little cold. Could be tough for him late in January, late in December, that kind of thing. I have to wait and see.
Well, I mean, I like the situation in the sense that you have a legend, grooming another legend to come in to be a Denver Bronco. I mean, he's got to trust and put faith in John Elway, a guy who's in this scenario late in his 30s, trying to win a Super Bowl ring. This is the same situation in the sense that Manning is coming to the end of his career, and he's trying to put this on cruise control to win a chip. So I feel like Denver with John Elway leading the way, I think it's a good match.
I agree. What do you think about Mario Williams? He's obviously the prized defensive free agent. A lot of teams are going to be interested in him, of course. Where do you see him ending up?
Mario Williams, I think with the recent problems with the Texans signing him and giving him the money that he wants, I think it's tough. I mean, a lot of teams are watering at the mouth. In my surprise pick, I could see the Eagles going after Mario Williams. No one's really talking about it, but a team like the Eagles covets big-time defensive ends, just like they went after Julius Peppers, and just like they went after Javon Curse when he was hot back in the day. But it's a team that values defensive ends, and if they can get Mario Williams and perhaps cut one of their DNs next year, or just imagine that lineup. But then, like you said, recently we're just talking about the Bears being very interested in Mario Williams.
That would be a dynamic front four if the Bears got him. If you had Mario Williams on one side and Peppers on the other, and a decent defensive tackle. I mean, you just need a couple decent defensive tackles to occupy, one or two blockers, and they would be pretty unstoppable. But I really like the Atlanta Falcons for Mario Williams. I think Atlanta needs to make a splash. They got smacked in the playoffs. The fans are a little downtrodden, and they could use a boost. They let John Abraham test free agency. They don't have a proven pass rusher. And I think Mario Williams could come in, and on that dome and that turf, he's going to be explosive off the line. I think that would be a really good fit. And if not, I like the Seattle Seahawks. They're kind of a dark horse that nobody's talking about, but Seattle likes to pay big money for up front. They really do. They lost, obviously Patrick Kearney a couple years ago, but they went hard after him. And it all starts up front. And I think that the Seahawks could be a sleeper for Mario Williams. They really could.
But do you really see Williams going to a team just, for money issues? I think he's got enough money. So I don't know if the Seahawks are a championship caliber team. But it could be interesting. I mean, the Bears, that would be. I can't even talk on that issue.
Yeah.
Julius Peppers and Mario Williams, these guys both run around 4.6s.
Yeah, it would be bananas.
Yeah.
It would be. What do you think about Vincent Jackson? Let's talk about the prized wide receiver. A lot of teams are lining up for him. I heard the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are very interested. Also, the Washington Redskins appear to be interested. But with the recent news that the Redskins took some serious cap hit, maybe they're going to have to restructure the way they look at free agency. Where do you see Vincent Jackson ending up?
Vincent Jackson, I think the best scenario for a team to put their faith in a wideout, it's got to be the Bucs. You're looking at an organization that needs some kind of direction in the wide receiver position. They have Williams there, but they need someone else to step up to be the number one guy. Williams would be a perfect number two, and Ben could also be a number three guy. That's three sound receivers. You get Jackson in the mix. I know the Redskins would love Vincent Jackson, but with all the monetary issues just as recent as of today, I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to jump back in that mix. I mean, you see Redskins are cutting people left and right, though.
They are. I'm going to throw a surprise team out there. The New England Patriots. I know the Patriots don't necessarily go after big-name guys, but they haven't really dominated at the wide receiver position over the last few years. It's all been run through the tight ends and Welker underneath. They went with Chad Ochocinco. It didn't really work out. You put a guy like Vincent Jackson on the outside, and you're able to run underneath with your Welker routes. You've got your intermediate routes with both of those tight ends, and you've got the deep third covered with Vincent Jackson. That could be a very dynamic weapon for the Patriots. But I really do think the Redskins are going to work something out. The Redskins are depleted with draft picks. They don't have a first and second. They don't have a couple firsts for the next few years. So they have to build through free agency. They put all their chips in for RG3, and now they have to get him a weapon. they still have some cap room that they can maneuver. They can probably restructure some contracts and may even let a couple of guys go overnight tonight or maybe early tomorrow and get in the mix. I think Vincent Jackson's either going to end up with Washington, Tampa Bay, or New England. Those are my top three, but I like Washington as the landing spot.
And maybe perhaps Chicago Bears. You look at Jay Cutler. I mean, he needs a number one target. I mean, Vincent Jackson would be a perfect fit for Jay Cutler. Big target over the middle. It would definitely open up that offense that got stale over the season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even with Matt Forte, you don't know what's going to happen this season with Matt Forte. He could not show up, so someone else is going to need to be making plays in that offense besides Forte. So.
Right. And the free agent market is deep at wide receiver. I mean, you've got guys like Brandon Lloyd. You've got guys like Colston if he doesn't re-sign. And then they've got a lot of good receivers in the draft as well. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see where some of these guys end up. And speaking of wide receivers, Randy Moss is on his way to San Francisco, heading out there to play with the Niners. Just bolstered their core a little bit. What do you think about that move?
I think Randy Moss will probably buy into the system of team first. I think Jim Harbaugh has shown what he's capable of, taking a team, turning it around to become a championship caliber team. I think Randy Moss is he the guy that still can take the top off the defense? That's the question that has to be answered. I think they're still lacking one more guy. We need someone to go across the middle. Crabtree is serviceable. I mean, he's very injury prone, but with Josh Morgan, I know on the fence, and I know they want him to come back. And then Ted Ginn probably gone. That's a question mark, and they definitely need someone to go across the middle. But if Randy Moss can be the guy to go down, make the deep balls, and not take plays off, I think it's a good sign. It's a one-year signing.
Right, and he's got to show improved this year for sure. And I think my biggest question isn't in the passing game. I think he's still fast. I think he can still catch. I think he can still do all those things. But how is he going to block? This is a team that's predicated on the power running game, and they need their wide receivers to block. And I don't know if Randy Moss is necessarily a power blocker on the outside, especially with the way they like to run the ball.
He's no Mike Iupati, but I think I just don't think you really hear of Randy Moss blocking too often because I'm sure he can block.
I'm sure he can, but I think it's going to be a necessity, especially with that offense. Long runs come from outside blocking. You got to get those corners locked up. It'll be interesting to see how he pans out with a one-year deal. I'm sure he's going to show up week in and week out. I'm sure being out of the league was a little bit of a wake-up call, and I bet he's going to take the most of his opportunity, and obviously we wish him the best of luck.
I know Vernon Davis is happy.
Absolutely. This is the Offseason Buzz. I'm Steve O'Reilly, and that's Gail Saunders, and we're giving you the skinny 24/7.